It's a 5-minute rumble. We're giving you everything we liked and didn't like in 5 minutes. So if you're ready, it's rumble time. Let's rumble with House of the Dragon, Episode 8, The Lord of the Tides. I've been very critical of House of the Dragon for the first 5 episodes because of the lack of compelling storytelling, conflict, and tension. There's no reason you need to watch the first 5 episodes to understand what's going on in episodes 6, 7, and 8. The 3 massive time jumps in season 1 has done very little to help create a story that lures us in and keeps us at the edge of our seats waiting for the next episode. However, episode 6 gave us the escalation in the interfamily conflict, and episode 8 gave us some very good setups, despite being a fairly slow-paced episode. I have to admit, I did get sentimental when Viserys was struggling to get to his throne. He turns and you think it's a guard helping him, but in fact, it was Daemon. It was a good payoff from a brotherly conflict that was magnified in episodes 6 and 7. There were actually a few moments that captured our hearts. Another was when Rhaenyra introduced her 2 new babies to her father, lying in bed near death. Aegon and the other she named Viserys. It was a good moment. I also loved the casting choice of Ewan Mitchell for the role of Aemond. He had a very convincing feel and added a real intensity to the dinner scene. On a logical note, it would be impossible for a one-eyed person to become a master swordsman. It's the same principle as a boxer. If one eye swells and closes, you are completely susceptible to punches from that side, and the fight will be stopped every time because of it. I spent a few years in the ring myself, and I have first-hand experience. The eye patch looks cool, but it's a fatal handicap in hand-to-hand fighting. Overall, I liked episode 8 and felt that it added to the tension of the series, despite another 6-year time jump. 3 massive time jumps conveys a weak writing style more than anything. Backstory can be told in so many ways, and these time jumps do not benefit the telling of this story. Regardless, I think House of the Dragon is getting some traction and good tension. Conflict is developing within the family, which was missing in the early episodes. I found it odd that the succession debate became such a big thing without even knowing if Corlys Velaryon was actually dead. I assumed he was alive because killing off a main character in between episodes would have been another low-grade writing mistake. His fate was uncertain and there was no confirmation of his death. I would think that his immediate family would have been more interested in determining this with 100% certainty before squabbling over his successor. I have no doubt that Corlys will return, and the events in the throne room with his brother being murdered by Daemon will come back to create another major conflict, which is good. But I found that scene to be a little extreme and nonsensical. A man's head is cut in 2 and everyone carries on like nothing happened. I don't think that would be the case if you would logically allow characters to react to these things instead of pretending they didn't happen. These are some of the issues I have with the writers of House of the Dragon. Character logic is at times a head shaker. Just like when Criston Cole murdered Sir Laeron's lover in the middle of the dance floor during the King's Feast. How would that not be murder? How could Criston Cole not be accused of murdering another noble? The writers leave a lot of loose ends that I guess you're just supposed to shrug your shoulders and move on. In episode 8, we saw the death of King Viserys, most likely due to his wounds that have been appearing on him over the years. From what I understand, it's some form of leprosy. I've maintained that they could have made this a much bigger deal over the episodes. The way the writers wrote it, it felt like a less than dramatic condition hovering beneath everything else. It was a lost opportunity to use this as a way to create real tension that would have lasted even through the 3 time jumps that would have become magnified with the years until his death in this episode. The good thing is that we developed a soft spot for King Viserys, and his death came with feelings of sadness as we watched him wither to nothing. It's obvious that his death is going to be the catalyst that makes some of the interfamily feuds explode into a much more pronounced conflict, because he was the one that kept strong feelings at bay. Now we may see the gloves come off and see real conflict enter into the final 2 episodes. I can't help to think that because we have 2 new babies in this story and a 3rd on the way, that we will have more major time jumps to come in season 2. The way the writers want to tell this story requires this as part of their approach. They want to show the story from a multi-generational perspective. I've not read the book, so I don't know what's in store, but I continue to feel that there is a much better way to tell this story without getting into so many time jumps. It makes the audience lose the continuity of the story and its characters. Overall, I was happy with episode 8, The Lord of the Tides, and I'm looking forward to how the Corlys Velaryon storyline matures and what Rhaenyra and Alicent's next move will be after King Viserys' death. It took a long time to get to this part of the story, and you could skip the first 5 episodes and still be 100% involved. It's part of the inherent weakness associated with long time jumps. I'm giving House of the Dragon Episode 8, The Lord of the Tides, a 4.5 out of 5 for production and a 4 out of 5 for story for a final score of 8.5.